as well.
Si PVP, PVP Chichi De Leon, another friend of ours. Actually, lahat naman dito.
Setting up na 60 seconds.
Kaibigan natin. Sige, tira lang kami ng tira. Di ba?
Classmate, ay friend.
Yeah, Chichi De Leon, ito. Magkakasama si Tessa Lion kaninang morning. Ang sisipag nito, mga president na to.
Oo.
Mga PVPs, of course. Tuloy-tuloy.
Siyempre, ano? O ba? Iba yata ang dating mo ngayon, friend. PVP Chichi.
O bakit? Ano meron?
Parang wala lang. Iba lang ang dating mo. Parang bago paligo. Joke.
Buti pa siya.
Buti pa siya. Samantalang ako yung t-shirt ko, kahapon ko pa ito isuot-suot. Yung nagdi-deliver ho nung bagong t-shirt ko na polio. Sana. Teka muna. Bakit ang ating producer at boss si PDG Sunny nakabarong ngayon?
Hi, Gov Sunny! Thank you for the feature. You missed the breast issue. You missed the breast.
Yeah.
The breast balitaktakan.
Yes, the breast. Nako, the breast talaga yun.
Breast friends na ho kami. Breast friends na ho kami ni PDG Mayan. Dati naman kaming magkaibigan yan. Pero iba na yung term namin ngayon, breast friend. Wag ho kayong magtaka. Hindi ho kami nagiging malaso mga kaibigan. Gaso namin si PDG Mayan nung Survivor Story.
October,
balitaktokan. Oo.
Parang Pinktober. Yan po ang sineselebrate natin sa
Pink October. Kaya tayo Pink to Red Di ba? Nung balitoktokan with PDG Mayan. Pink to Red tayo. Mag-shoutout pa tayo ng iba. Sino pa nandito?
SAG VJ Sampat, of course.
Si AG nandito.
Umorder ng sa kaibigan ko yan si VJ, of course.
At ang ating special guest from Pakistan ay nandito na.
Katong Vincent.
From our special guest from Pakistan is here. And he will be properly introduced later. In the meantime, Aziz, we hope you have a good time with all of us this afternoon.
Yes, welcome. Welcome, Aziz. Of course, ito, past President Areta. Two-term, classmate ng father ko to pero from Lacanbini, Parañaque, Lacanbini, of course.
So mga our fellow Rotarians from other districts, please rename yourselves. Make sure your name is there and also your district and your club name so we can shout out properly. Kung kayo naman po ay mga kaibigan namin but you are not with Rotary yet, okay lang po naman. Just write your name and maybe your organization or your company so we can shout out. Para naman properly shout you out and greet you. Peaches Reyes, kumusta na? Ang ganda ng profile mo. And Paul yun na,
Thank you, Sugus.
Ayan, saka si Ali Garangan. Ang ganda pa nung sa story ko ba nakita? FB story yata yan or something. Nag-post sila ng kanyang may bahay. AG Ali.
Hello sir, mga idol, Archie.
Yan, idol natin yan si Ali.
Ang ganda ng picture niyo mag-asawa kanina. Nakita
sir,
ko yun. Saan mo pa pinost? Sa sa Viber ba o nasa FB?
FB.
Sa FB na. Nakita ko kanina. And of course,
kailangan ko siya i-post kasama ko asawa ko Alam mo na, protocol.
Magandang protocol yan.
Wala po kami kinalaman siya.
Dapat i-add dyan sa Rotary Book of Protocols. Or Manual of Protocols pala.
Hindi kasi yung angle.
Of course, yung ang ating ang aking favorite, my beautiful PVP, Marga Divina Gracia of the Rotary Club of Makati Paseo de Roas. Nandito na.
Yes, of course.
Sino pa hindi pa nababanggit?
Batang-bata. Yan po,
si Ma'am Areta Hustado, nandito na po. Ayan.
Ano yan? Sharing president.
And si P.E. Tessa of Las Piñas West, nandito. Ang dami nating Sino pa ba? Red Mendoza of the Manila Times. Good afternoon to you, sir. PDG Jimmy. Sino pa nandito? PDG Jimmy Cura. Oh, PDG
Hi,
Jimmy.
Governor.
PDG Jimmy.
Good
Wow.
afternoon.
Where
Hi.
are you? Always good to see. It's always great to see PDG Jimmy Cura.
Good
And of
afternoon,
course,
everyone.
yeah, I go. Idol,
Si,
dumadami na naman yung mga idols natin dito.
Oo nga eh.
Ay,
Kaya
si
medyo na-inspire na ako
Kikirikit
na naman.
Lagdameo.
Oo. Ah,
Carol, Balotro.
my boss, EAG Just Limon. Archie,
Hi.
na-realize ko kung international event to, dapat mag-nosebleed tayo. Dapat ba nag-i-English
Oo
na
nga.
tayo ngayon? Should we
I
be
think
speaking
so.
in English, Archie?
Yeah, we have a
oh.
guest from Pakistan.
Yes.
I love Pakistan, one of the best sa Asia. Believe me.
I have yet to visit Pakistan, pero maganda
I crossed,
but it's a
I
beautiful
crossed
country.
India going to Lahore, Pakistan, and it's one of the best. I love the food, the morning, the breakfast meal nila ng the best. Pare. Hi, welcome everyone.
Talking
Sa
of
World
breakfast,
Polio,
si
yeah.
SAGVJ, hindi pa tayo pinapadala ng lunch or breakfast.
Oo nga. PVP Cathy Ronquillo. Yeah, wearing their end polio shirt. Thank you everyone for wearing our end polio shirt.
Yes.
Ito
Sino
natin.
pa ba?
Sabi ng governor natin eh, wear the end
course.
for this shirt.
Oh, tama po, tama. Correct. Ayan. Sino pa ba? Archie. Arch.
Yes.
Are you there, my friend?
I'm sharing the FB page to my personal FB page as well. So many people can see what's happening today, di ba? What is
So,
this
you're
World
actually-
Polio Day virtual town hall meeting? Yeah.
You're actually speaking in English already, partner. I don't.
Really? Sorry, I didn't notice it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with all the social media, all the social media efforts that Rotarians are, doing all over the world, if this was a boxing match, polio would have been knocked out as early as the first minute of the first round. But again, of course, fellow Rotarians, we cannot rest until polio in 2 more countries, the last 2 holdouts. Holdouts ba? Did I use the right word? Yes. Diba? Of polio. Diba? 2 more countries to go, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians. Ayan.
Yeah.
And for those of you who just joined us, if you are shocked that Archie and I are actually speaking in English, it's because we have guests from other countries, and hospitable
We are
as we
streaming
are.
live. And we are streaming live through FB
Yes.
of the District Rotary FB page and my personal FB page as well.
So you mean your personal FB is in English all the time?
All the time, of course. No, and we have lots of good news about this end polio. Even if you're not a Rotarian, you can help us to eradicate this polio, and later on it will be tackled as well. Even the Globe, it's a good news. Came from from Governor Chacha Camacho. Diba, the partnership between Rotary and Globe Telecom.
Globe Telecom. Not
Yes,
just
and
the
it will
Globe.
start on November.
Not just the Globe in Mall of Asia, but Globe.
No, it's the Globe Telecom.
Globe Telecoms.
Yes,
Oo.
the Globe Rewards starting
Yes.
November 1st. I think you could donate through your Globe Rewards. So,
And
let's donate.
of course, we're doing this effort, but ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder to all our fellow Rotarians wherever you are. Please, practice social distancing. Tatagalugin ko muna para medyo tumimo sa inyong mga isipan at mga puso. Marami ho tayong magagandang nagagawa ngayong araw sa ngalan ng End Polio ng Rotary International. Huwag ho natin pabayaan na mabahiran yan ng mga batikos dahil hindi po tayo nagpa-practice ng social distancing.
Agree.
Okay, in English, Archie, translate.
Just keep practicing social distancing at least 1.5 meters.
Yes,
So
because we don't want.
you need to wear your
Yes.
mask. Wear your mask
Yes.
every time. That's the best. That's the best way. The at least that we could do for ourselves and for others is to keep
Yes.
the distance.
Let's not allow ourselves to be criticized. I mean, we're doing great effort all over the world, fellow Rotarians. So let's not give an inch to any criticism that, when you post on your social media accounts, wherever that is, diba? Instagram, Facebook, please make sure that when you post, you're actually showing that you're practicing social distancing. Just to avoid any criticism and let all the
And not just
efforts,
for the photo op, not just for the photo op, for the sake
yeah.
of photo opportunity. Just keep practicing it. It's the best way. As you know, Idol, di ba? Even in Europe, UK, they're back to lockdown now because of some hundred thousands of cases now of what's happening. So please help each other.
Yes, help each
Now,
other, defend
yeah,
ourselves, protect
yeah.
ourselves,
Well
diba?
said,
And
Argus. Well said, Argus. By
thank
the
you,
way,
thank you.
have you acknowledged the presence of the End Folio chair for the entire zone, Pacific Governor Mayan Solomon of
Oh,
District
yes.
3860?
Hi, Gov
Yes.
Sure.
Jimmy.
She
Good
is our
afternoon.
she is our newest breast friend, Gob.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's yeah.
You hosted the very successful first zone End Folio Summit a few days ago.
We
Yeah.
hosted Gov. It was a
Yeah.
team
Very
effort
Yeah,
with the
successful.
governors, the
congratulations.
RFC,
Congratulations.
district polio coordinators, the district public coordinators. Wonderful job. We worked together. Imagine the first zone 10A polio summit.
Congratulations. That is why, ladies and gentlemen,
They
PDG
call it
Mehan
honor.
Solomon has not slept. Actually, she woke up 3 o'clock this morning and she has not rested since then. But hey, it's a typical Rotary day.
Yeah.
Agree, agree.
I rode a bike in Panglao and then I ran in Jansan and I did Zumba in Butuan. Yeah.
Talaga.
So are you gonna? So PDG man, are you gonna end the day by swimming from Cebu to Leyte across the ano ba yan?
Kakatuwa. Hello, Trusty Aziz. Trusty Aziz is there.
But
Yeah,
our,
he has been here for several minutes already. He actually came in early.
but our host governor Chacha may give us a sample of the Zumba.
Yeah.
Sessions that
Yeah,
she
he did Zumba this
Oo
morning
nga.
for 5 minutes. I think for
And
only 5 minutes.
Gov Jimmy, I think it will be very appropriate for her to show us her Zumba moves while wearing her new headphones.
Oh,
Yes.
right. Okay.
It's just like the early Jane Fonda exercises. But she was still young when Jane Fonda was doing her diba?
I switched
Her
off na my
exercises.
video kasi water break na ako after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, PVP Glenn De Leon, how is your how did the fundraiser go? Do we still have watches left and shirts to give to give out?
Definitely. With regards to shirts, you may ask either TT Kito or TT Carry about it. With the watches, yes, we are still accepting some orders.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a Seiko watch, and Polio Seiko watch.
It's a collector's item. It
Only
will
150.
have only 150 in production, and it will have an
Production.
End Polio and Rotary logos on the inside the watch actually.
Correct.
Of course.
Yes.
So, Kimi, kakanta mamaya, may concert yan after.
I'm sorry we cannot understand. Gob, I'm sorry we cannot understand you. You have to speak in English for the sake of our
Happy Kimi.
Hello.
Concert.
Hello.
Hi.
Everybody, hello.
He can sign the autograph right now.
Architect Jun Palafox, welcome. Welcome,
Hi.
sir.
I don't have the
Jun.
t-shirt.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon po.
Hello, fellow hindi na tayo fellow inmates. Wala na ba?
Inmate, yeah.
Inmates.
That's nice.
Oh, we have Trusty Aziz. His video is on. How are you, sir? Good afternoon to you.
Good. Greetings to all of you, including DG Chacha.
Hi, sis.
We actually do this pre-program chit chat in the
Okay.
native language, but when we saw you, we had to speak in English. So now
So
our noses are bleeding. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I can understand your native language also.
Oh,
Wow, really?
That's great.
Why didn't you say so? We've been struggling with English for so many minutes already. No, but thank you. We will hear more from you later. Thank you very much
No
for
problem.
joining us.
It's good to learn English also. It's a
PDG
good
Sid
language.
Garcia. Oh, thank you, Trusty Aziz. We'll see you later. PDG Sid Garcia, we were about to. Yeah, I just greeted you. You disappeared from your video screen, but it's okay. You're back. Hi, Gob, paki-unmute. Please unmute yourself. PDG Sid. You're muted.
Oh, hello
Ayan.
everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Gob.
Gob.
Long time
Good
no hear.
afternoon,
Huh?
Hi to my friend Aziz.
Gopsi.
Congratulations, Trusty Aziz. And I think he's frozen.
Sige. Kaya
So,
hindi ka up.
Yeah. Anyway, Sugos
Hello.
Idol, this is the one that Gov Chacha was mentioning a while ago, the Songs of Hope. So we will be, please support the Rotary Club of Rizal West. Of course, PDG Jimmy Kura will be singing. How many songs, Gov? Yeah, this evening. It's a
Really?
fundraising. Yeah,
Wow.
fundraising concert of Rizal West. So
Wow.
7 p.m. Yeah, watch out for
We already have the
Gov Jimmy.
winner of your End Polio Now video. The contest. Do we already have a winner?
We do.
It will be announced later.
I don't know if they will, if they will do that, but the results
We'll see.
are out.
Okay.
We still have 3 minutes before we start the program.
Yeah,
but
and we
PDG
better.
Lemon.
Yes, I was about to say that. The better half
PDG.
of our
How's
EAG
fishing?
Jazz.
How's
Hello.
fishing?
Gob.
Hello.
Gob,
Yeah,
sabi ni EAG.
Oy, Gob
Sabi
Boyet,
nga ni
good
EAG,
afternoon.
nag-ano ka raw panay daw ang fishing mo. Although kami ni Archie, sa amin, it sounds very fishy. But then again, of course, we will give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, agree.
Pamisa-misan lang.
Yeah.
Oo nga, Gob.
Regards
Hindi, tinry ko. I tried to call PDG Boyet. I cannot reach him. Sabi ko, ay, nasa gitna nga ng dagat.
Oh,
Yeah.
tama naman.
I just got back last night. Yeah.
Go. Yan na ba ang hobby ng ano ngayon, Gob, ng mga gainfully Hindi ko naman yan ang mga hobbies ng mga bagong CEOs niya sa level mo. Fishing na ba tayo? Hindi na tayo golf?
Yeah.
Ganon. We're already fishing, not playing golf anymore.
The fishing is best for social distancing, no? You're in the middle of the deep blue sea.
And you need to be
Yeah.
patient. Di ba? Patience is a virtue.
It's a patience, it's a patience talaga.
by the way,
Very relaxing.
nandiyan na si Prid Paeng. Greet him. Hello, Prid. Paeng,
Oh,
how are you?
Prid.
Hello.
Prid Paeng, how are you?
How are you?
Hi everyone.
Good to see you, Prid.
It's always a pleasure to be in the same room with you, sir.
Of course.
Kumusta na po?
Hello, Paeng. Can you hear us? Paeng. Hello.
Naka-mute.
You're in mute, Prid. Hi, Prid Paeng. How are you?
How are you, sir? Good afternoon po.
Fine. Good afternoon.
Hi, Director Paeng.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Our acting governor.
po, Direct Paeng.
Yeah, good
Good to see you,
afternoon.
sir. It's good to see you. Oh, and of
Yes,
course,
we are almost done with our chit chat here. We'll be starting in a bit. In less than 2 minutes, I think we'll be starting. Of
and
course,
our
Matigila,
regulars.
TCP.
Hello,
Yeah,
also.
TCP Daryl. TCP Daryl, kapatid,
I was
how
about
are
to
you?
say our regulars, Daryl, Virgie Yalong, Ami Lustre, di ba? Etong kaibigan ko na ngayon ko lang nakita ulit, si Jovit Soon sa Rotary, sa BNI, madalas kayo magkita.
Oo nga.
Ayan. Yan, seryoso siya. Sana narinig niya. And of course, the BFF of our governor, si Maridel Villavicencio.
Of course.
Argus, I think we're ready.
Okay, Gob. The room is yours. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Balitok-tokan. Next episode. See you all.
Thank you, Argus. Fellow Rotarians and friends, good afternoon. In accordance with Rotary tradition, this town hall will be officially convened by our district governor, to be followed by the invocation by past President Reggie Nolido of the Rotary Club of Makati. Then we shall pay homage to the national anthems of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the Republic of the Philippines. Let's all welcome our perfect vision governor, Chacha Camacho.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a rainy Saturday afternoon, but it's not going to dampen our spirits. So I am very delighted to call this town hall meeting to order.
kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, ewas na sinamanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, kuyak ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng pagaw, ay hinagang tula, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng katawan mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magtitingin, luman ang araw ng maraming pagsinta, tuwing langit sa piling ko, ang higaya ng partay ng amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Today, we join Rotary's celebration of World Polio Day. Together with nearly 1.2 million Rotarians and more than 300,000 Rotaractors, we gather to focus on one important goal: end polio now. We shall now witness a presentation that shows us the significance of Rotary's efforts to eradicate polio.
Fellow Rotarians and friends, here are some scenes from a viral epidemic that struck the world twice. First, at the turn of the 20th century and after World War II. As we view these video clips, we cannot help but feel for the very young children who were struck down by polio. They had to be placed inside iron lung beds that served as respirators. Little was it known then that a similar mysterious virus will strike again and would even bring about a global pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic is triggering some familiar feelings to a certain age group. They have been here before. Sorrow, fear, hospitals overwhelmed, lockdowns and closures, all due to the dreaded coronavirus. Hallmarks of a deadly virus that terrified the world starting at the turn of the 20th century. When the COVID-19 pandemic forced us all into quarantine and lockdown, Rotarians responded immediately. Rotarians and Rotary clubs quickly mobilized to assist and protect the frontliners with face masks, face shields, and PPE sets. We prepared packed lunches, meals, and hygiene kits with soap, alcohol, and towels. We even made vinyl shields for use by doctors intubating COVID patients. The Rotary Foundation provided grants in aid to enable our clubs to respond to the global health emergency. Rotary International has linked arms with Lions, Kiwanis, and Serotomist International in a global united front to stem the tide of the COVID-19 outbreak. As Rotary International reminds us, we can be proud that in the ever-connected world of global health, the polio infrastructure that the Rotarians have helped build is already being used to address and stop the spread of the new coronavirus. As Filipino Rotarians, we have played a historic role in Rotary's crusade to end polio. Philippine Rotary has played a pivotal role in launching and propagating Rotary International's decades-long Global Polio Eradication Initiative. The first 3H grant funded the polio immunization of 1 million Filipino children, launched during RI President James Bomar's visit to the Philippines in September 1979. That event was organized by then Governor and later RI Director Rafael Hechanova. Matt Caparas, as RI President in 1986 to 1987, launched the two-year Polio Plus Fund campaign that surpassed its target. National immunization days and similar initiatives were modeled in the Philippines. We salute our past district governors Antonio Tambunting and Oscar de Venecia for their pioneering and sustained leadership that led to the eradication of the wild polio virus in the Philippines in 1997. Fellow Rotarians, we can proudly say that our District 3830 has figured very prominently in these events and achievements. We are all urged to join in carrying on that fine tradition. We meet today amid very encouraging circumstances. Only last month, the WHO declared the entire region of West Africa polio-free. That means there are only 2 polio-endemic countries that have never interrupted the transmission of wild poliovirus that remain, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Without Rotary's polio eradication efforts, more than 17 million people who are currently healthy would have been paralyzed by the virus. As we celebrate this achievement, we remember the heroism of those who worked so hard to make this possible. We honor the memory of 2 nurse volunteers who drowned while crossing a river to conduct polio immunization in a remote barangay. When their bodies were recovered, they were still clutching in their arms the supplies of oral polio vaccines they would have administered to children in the hinterland. While we have completely stopped the transmission of wild polio virus, we continue to be vigilant in our continuing efforts to fight the resurgence of polio in other forms. Only last year, our 10 Philippine Rotary districts relaunched another massive nationwide house-to-house campaign. Junaisa Jator, 4 years old, from Marogong, Lanao del Sur, was detected with vaccine-derived poliovirus type last June 2019. Junaisa was not able to complete her vaccination when she was younger because her parents were busy with work. They used to sell goods at 168 Mall in Divisoria before going back to Lanao del Sur. Baby Junaisa was frequently entrusted to her grandmother's care while her parents earned their keep. So there, fellow Rotarians, our work is still far from complete. We need to continue doing our work to eradicate polio. Let's rededicate ourselves to this vital task. Let's emulate the enthusiasm of the volunteers who did their homework decades ago. Do you know that in their zeal and dedication to ensure 100% coverage of the territory assigned to them, our early volunteers placed indelible ink on the children's indexed finger, just like what is done with us after we cast our ballots in an election. And just to make sure that all children have been immunized, they placed marks on the houses they have visited, just like in the biblical Passover. Fellow Rotarians, let us persevere and persist until our mission is fully accomplished. Certainly, a massive effort like nationwide polio immunization requires tremendous resources. If each of us give our share, then put together our small contributions, we will create a much larger pool of funds. Do you know that in 1917, the founder of the Rotary Foundation started it all with a modest contribution of $26.50? Today, we ask you to contribute what you can. But truth to tell, we should not disappoint the children, as it is for them that we rededicate our efforts to finally eradicate polio. To echo the appeal of our RI President Holger Knack, let us fulfill our promise to the children of the world. For in the words of Saint Mother Teresa, It is not how much you do, but how much love you put into what you do that counts. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Today, let us start doing small things with great love.
Indeed, our campaign to end polio leads to the attainment of global health. All of us, each of us, must play a role. The Rotary Foundation leads our efforts in eradicating polio. Let me now call on the leader of our district Rotary Foundation Committee, past District Governor Isidro Sid Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Sunny. And thank you for that very informative and comprehensive and inspiring video. I'm sure all of us are very much more inspired to support the drive to end polio. On behalf of the Rotary Foundation, our beloved District Governor, Chacha Camacho, and the District Rotary Foundation team, we would like to welcome you to this event, the World Polio Day Town Hall Meeting. Today, October 24, Rotarians all over the world celebrate World Polio Day to recognize the importance of eradicating the polio virus and show gratitude to the donors for their generous contribution to the Rotary Foundation. We have used our collective strength as Rotarians to accomplish this enormous vision, and today there are just 2 countries with the wild polio virus. Congratulations to all Rotarians for this great effort. The wild polio virus is still in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and they will still paralyze children in these countries. It is therefore important that we continue to support the fight against the polio virus. Our town hall meeting is doubly significant for Philippine Rotary, especially for our beloved District 3830. Today, we also celebrate the 41st anniversary of the first national polio immunization program through the 3H grant project that was launched in September 1979 at the premises of the Makati Rotary Foundation building in Guadalupe Viejo, city of Makati. While the world today is very much focused on reducing the threat of human life due to the COVID-19 virus, we must still carry on the polio vaccination drive. If all eradication efforts are stopped today, in 10 years, polio could paralyze as many as 200,000 children every year. Remember, a free world will be healthier for children everywhere. Our goal this afternoon is to eradicate polio virus in the next few years with everybody's help. And if we do this, this will be the second virus to be eradicated aside from smallpox. In today's program, we have a short video presentation on our fight against polio, a sharing of a polio survivor, a panel conversation with a key Department of Health official, and a brief history of the Philippine immunization program presented by past Rotary International Director Paeng Echanova and Polio Pioneer Awardee, past District Governor Oski de Venecia. We will also have an update on the polio eradication initiative given by the Rotary Foundation trustee, Assis Memon, a member of the RITRF Polio Plus International Committee. I will be introducing him shortly later. But at this point, let me now introduce to you our next speaker, past Rotary International Paeng Echanova. Past Rotary International Paeng Echanova joined the Rotary Club of Makati in 1967. He became our club president in 1972. He was elected as district governor of 3820 then in 1979. And then he became the RI director in 1996 and served for a 2-year term. He served in many RI task forces such as membership development, Polio Plus Committee, and the nominating committee for RI presidents. He has represented RI in various district conferences in Asia, Australia, Italy, and the United States of America. It was during his term as district governor that led to the agreement to promote polio vaccination program in the Philippines with the Department of Health. During the 2019 Manila Rotary Institute, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of this event with the reenactment of the Rotary Club of Makati building in Guadalupe Viejo. No less than RI President Holger Kanak, TRF Chair Gary Wang, and DOH Secretary Francisco Duque were on hand to grace the occasion. Paeng is currently Director Emeritus of Concepcion Industries, the leading air conditioning and appliance manufacturer in the Philippines. He and his wife, Melly, are members of the prestigious Arch Clam Society of the Rotary Foundation. My fellow Rotarians, let us all give a warm welcome to past Rotary International Director Paeng Echanova.
Thank you. Thank you, Sid Garcia, Foundation Trustee Aziz Memon, District Governor Chacha Camacho, other distinguished guests, fellow Rotarians. The eradication of polio started 43 years ago here in the Philippines. And so September 29, 1979, with polio oral vaccine given to a Filipino child. The story has three parts. It's probably the greatest gift of Rotary to the world. The story has three parts. The first part is recorded in the Rotary Foundation's Doing Good in the World. The book states that 1977-78 was a year when every world leader concerned about childhood diseases. At the same time, Rotary was thinking of what to do in celebration of the 75th anniversary in 1980. So at the board meeting in 1978, IRI President Jack Davis challenged everyone to develop a plan to address childhood diseases and the anniversary that will be presented in the Tokyo Convention a few months after. President-elect Renouf of Australia thought about it deeply and came up with a 2-year 75th anniversary fund. Was that research. And one of effort for the greatest problem of our time. He called the proposal the 3H program for health, hunger, and humanity. The convention audience of Rotarians gave a thunderous applause. To start the implementation of the 1977-70 board, did a 3H committee composed of 48 members from 19 countries, while the 1978-79 board approved a resolution to the Council of Legislation. The 3H committee decided to adopt the World Health Organization's recommendation of a pilot project of mass immunization of 6 million children in the Philippines. That pilot project was endorsed by Dr. Sabina Santos to the 3H committee, of which she was a member. A discussion was held in Manila on how to implement this. At that time, Connaught Laboratories of Canada asked Rotary if he had use for tetanus vaccines, which was to expire in 6 months. The matter was referred to both Matt Caparas and Dr. Sabina Santos, who endorsed the matter to the past health secretaries. They readily agreed to the vaccine, and in just 2 weeks, the tetanus vaccines were transported to Manila and made use, all at no use to Rotary. This proven ability to efficiently distribute 700,000 vaccines solidified the occasion to start with the pilot project of immunizing 6 million children of the Philippines for polio. It was then RI President James Bomar of the United States in 1979-80 who announced that he was coming to Manila in September 1979 to sign the MOU with the Philippine government and launch worldwide the 3H program. I had no personal knowledge of all of that. I have spoken as everything came from the book. Now, fast forward to July 1, 1979. I was now the district governor of 3830, which comprised half of Luzon, since Makati is here in Metro Manila. I was given the responsibility for the RI president's visit. And I thought, what MOU? I had no idea. Now comes the second part of the story. After knowing what the project is all about, I went to see Health Secretary Dr. Enrique Garcia to explain the 3H program, but he said he had no authority. We got an appointment for the lady, Mrs. Imelda Marcos, who then was also Metro Manila governor. I decided to bring my spouse, Melly, who was acquainted with her, for they have both been belonging to an organization that donates vestments to priests. Imelda Marcos is after we made the presentation, she said tuberculosis is the biggest contributor to that diseases in the Philippines. So why polio? We replied, the WHO recommended the Philippines. TB vaccines were already being produced in the Philippines at a low price and sufficient quantities. Polio vaccines, on the other hand, was expensive. Polio was rampant in the Philippines with 45% of polio cases and 75% of polio deaths in a 32-nation region. To help convince her, we also mentioned that RI had appropriated this $670,000 funding for the program, and that that the Philippines will not spend any amount and will be known all over the world. She agreed after conversing with Secretary of Health Enrique Garcia. I relayed this to RI, and they sent John Giles, a PR expert, to Manila. He had his own instruments of what to do, and thankfully, the approval of the draft of it and the Philippine government. The real problem was the venue, since a large audience of mothers and children was expected. John, John Giles and I agreed that the best venue was the Rockwell property of the Rotary Club of Makati, because we had the community worker in the residential area across the street from Rotary's office. RI President and spouse Edith arrived on September 28 with PRD Chuck Keller and his wife as aides. We proceeded to Malacanang to see Mrs. Marcos because she was the one who has proved the immunization. But instead, she was indisposed, and we had to return the following morning to see her. At 4 p.m. the next day, Saturday, September 29, 1979. The MOU was signed by President James Bomar and Health Secretary Enrique Garcia, while 100 mothers and children watched. President Bomar administered an oral polio vaccine to a Filipino child, the first of over 2.5 billion children of the world that was saved. While doing this, a boy in crutches said, "That was my sister. Thank you, Rotary." That picture was beamed all over the world and brought tears and happiness to Rotarians everywhere. By 1984, I reported at the Birmingham, England Convention Workshop that 5 million children were immunized. Everyone felt that an 80% of 6 million was an excellent achievement. President-elect Carlos Canseco of Mexico spearheaded the Creates campaign, as he was a friend of Dr. Sabin and Dr. Salk, who pioneered the cures separately of polio, now together with whooping cough, diphtheria, the tetanus, DB, and measles, called Polio Plus. Later on, the goal for eradication was set for 2005, and each country would organize their own Polio Plus. And now comes part 3. PDG Oscar de Venecia will talk about that later. Thank you, and I urge everyone to end polio now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give Passwater International Director another big hand, please. Thank you, Paeng, for really taking us back history, how it all happened, the hard work that a lot of Rotarians did, like John Tambunting, yourself, Oski de Venecia. Really, we owe a lot to you, and we pledge to continue to end this, to work on this mission to end polio. At this point, it is now my honor to introduce to you our guest speaker. I first met TRF trustee Aziz Mimon when I was visiting Karachi in Pakistan last September 2019. I just came from Dhaka, Bangladesh on a 2-week trip to 2 countries, Bangladesh and Pakistan. I visited several cities to promote the 2019 Manila Institute. And on that occasion, I had a time to meet with him in Karachi, and we had a lively discussion on Rotary's work in Pakistan to eradicate the wild polio virus, and of course, including Afghanistan. We also discussed the possibility of our 2 clubs, the Rotary Club of Makati and the Rotary Club of Karachi, of signing a sister club agreement and doing a global grant mental health project. All of this came into fruition when we met again early December at the 2019 Manila Rotary Institute, where we signed an agreement to be a sister club and to engage in the global grant project on mental health. TRF trustee Aziz is currently serving as trustee of the Rotary Foundation for 2020-2024. Concurrently, he holds the following position in Rotary: Rotary International Polio Plus Chair, Rotary International Polio Plus National Committee for Pakistan, Member, the Rotary Foundation Awards and Review Committee. Member, Risk Advisory Committee. Member, the Rotary Foundation Programs Committee. He is leading polio eradication effort. He's leading the efforts of eradicating polio in Pakistan for many years now. And he is closely working with partners and stakeholders, including WHO, UNICEF, the expanded program of immunization, government officials, religious scholars, celebrities, corporate executives from multinational companies, and Rotarians from around the world. TRF Trustee Assist is a recipient of several awards, of which they are as follows: President of Pakistan Pride of Performance Award, recognition of USA Congressman Honorable Daniel Donovan Jr., Louis Pasteur Medal of Pasteur Institute, France, Service Above Self Award, International Service Award for Polio-Free World, Regional Service Award for Polio-Free World, Distinguished Service Award, Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service. The RF trustee is also chairman of the King's Group, a conglomerate of 5 companies, one of the leading textile and ready-made garment manufacturing and exporting groups in Pakistan. He is chairman of the board of directors of the Karachi City Government, a project of the government of Pakistan. He is also honorary consul of the Republic of Sirami in Karachi. He is the president of United Memon Jamaat of Pakistan, president of English-Speaking Union, married to Samina Aziz, who is a professor of anesthesiology at Aga Khan University Hospital. Both Aziz and Memon and Samina are member of the Arch Clam Society, Chairman Circle. My fellow Rotarians and guests, let us give a warm welcome to my friend and to a distinguished Rotarian, TRF Trustee Aziz Memon.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend Sid. Greetings, my friends in Philippines. Special greetings to District Governor Chacha and your director, Rafael, all the Rotarians. Today is an important day for the whole Rotary world. 24th October marks and brings us the memory of Professor Jonas Salk, who gave us the vaccine. While we are going through the worst pandemic of our time, COVID-19, we are always praying and thinking that when will the vaccine come for COVID-19 and when we can get out of this. Now, on the other hand, my friends, for polio, we have a vaccine. And if we are not using it, if we are not protecting our children from the crippling disease, it's a very sad. I have been up from 5 in the morning today. We had various rallies, cycle race, motorcycle race, walks, and I've been talking to the Rotarians across Pakistan and Afghanistan and energizing them to get on the toes to finish the job. We, in 2018, we had come down to about 10 cases. But then we went through a national election. Everything was disturbed for 8 months. No health minister, no prime minister focal person for polio. This distracted our program. In 2019, when we picked up and we were moving forward, we had a fake campaign like you suffered in Philippines, in which an opposition party created a fake drama that 50 children had died because of OPV. No one had died. 300,000 children landed up in hospitals in Peshawar in 2 hours. This was a setback. Our NIDs were called off. It took us 7-8 months to hold ourselves back on the toes and get forward. And As we were moving forward, COVID-19 came our way. But I'm pleased to tell you that in July, we resumed our campaign to target the polio-derived cases and case response for the wild polio cases. This was on a very small way because COVID-19 had to be respected. Giving face masks and everything was being done. In August, the campaign size increased. In September, after a break of 8 months, we were able to conduct a full-fledged NID targeting 40 million children across Pakistan. We are thankful to our Prime Minister and the President and the Chief of Army Staff. In February this year, on 18th of February, Preston Holger, Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran, IPPC Chair Mike McGovern, and myself, we called on the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, and the Chief of Army Staff, General Bajwa, and they gave us full assurance that they will be doing everything possible to make Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the world polio-free. We are going to have full-fledged campaign in October, November, and December NIDs. And this time we are going to use trivalent, which was discarded, but now trivalent has been made specially for Pakistan and Afghanistan, because with trivalent we'll be able to do two things. We will be able to target the wild polio cases and at the same time the derived cases. I have just selected a few slides for you because your concern is more on the derived cases. When I was there in Manila last year, we had a meeting with your health minister and secretary, and we spoke as to how the routine immunization could be improved. So these are some of the reasons why we get the derived cases: low routine immunization, declining muscular immunity, regional migration, low quality outbreak response, and use of monovalent OPV type 2. So these are the things which are now today. The derived cases are all over. They are on 400 plus, and they are in Africa, they are in Nigeria. That's why Nigeria was made wild polio free. They do have derived cases. We have derived cases in Pakistan, in the north of Pakistan, some in Afghanistan also. Can I have the next slide, please? So the outbreak response strategy as to how we are going to move forward, finish the derived cases, whether in Philippines or Thailand or Myanmar, anywhere. So these are some of the ways this could be taken care of. But there's a good news also. May I have the next slide, please? A research has been done and a new vaccine has been made. It has been manufactured in Indonesia, and the rollout is going to be in September this month. And this is the novel OPV2. This vaccine will address the derived cases, and this would be the emergency supplies will go to those countries where we are having derived cases, which includes Philippines, which includes Pakistan, which includes Afghanistan, which includes Nigeria. So a lot of hope is there on novel vaccine, and training is being given to the health staff, and the cold chain is being put into place so that the rollout of novel vaccine is done. And I can assure you that this novel vaccine will be able to relieve you from the derived cases also. And as I told you, that we are on your toes to fight the wild polio case and the derived case. To have a polio-free world, we will have to finish both of the derived and the wild, because after all, derived also brings in paralysis. So if we have to save the children of the world, as we have given a promise to them that no child will suffer because of polio, we have to finish. Next, please. These are the countries at high risk of the derived cases and where the initial use of will be Africa, some parts of Africa, Asia Pacific region, and you can see Philippines very much there, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Somalia. So, you know, this is the rollout plan, and there will not be any foul play in it. It will go to those countries, and we hope that your team, your Rotarians, your government, I had the pleasure of meeting your health secretary, and I found him to be a very, very committed person. And I'm sure that they will use the novel vaccine to the best advantage and get rid of the derived cases. Next, please. Now, in COVID-19 has put a setback. You know, children in 35 countries were deprived of the vaccine, and it did not just aggravate polio, it aggravated measles and meningitis, and they have been put at risk, and 80 million children have been put at risk. So we hope that COVID, we will be able to energize our work on polio. Next, please. Now, this is again showing you a graph of the impact of COVID. You very well know, I saw in your opening remarks also that you are fully aware of it. And polio teams went into action as soon as COVID struck. This was an advantage where the polio teams were present, and I appreciate the work done by the Philippine polio team and by the polio team in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Next, please. Conducting polio SIAs will not substantially increase COVID. Now, this is the assurance we have given to the government that we will conduct the drive NIDs in such a way by following the SOPs, by wearing the face mask and doing everything possible so that the COVID-19 is not aggravated. And at the same time, we will be able to take care of the children of the world. Next, please. These were the few slides. Now, you know, I saw on your program that the donations you're going to give to the Rotary Foundation, I'm thankful to you for that. And on behalf of the trustee chair of Rotary Foundation, I would like to thank you personally. We have a goal of $50 million this year. Please donate generously. With your money, we have been able to give 3 billion drops, and we have saved many, many children from getting paralyzed. If 19 million children are walking, it is because of you, because of your generosity, and because of your contribution to the Rotary Foundation. Please do not stop, because while we run the last leg, which is the most difficult one, we need you. We need your support. It all started in Philippines. So let it end in Philippines, and we will make the world polio free. I want to thank District Governor Chacha. She has become popular overnight in Pakistan. You know the reason? Because in our language, the word Chacha means loving uncle. So I tell my Rotarians that you can use that word loving uncle for Chacha, but she is a pretty lady, as the best matter of fact, the most pretty governor of Olgar. Thank you very much. And thank you, my friend Sid, for the nice introduction. And I'm always available to you. And whenever the opportunity arises, I will come back to Makati and meet your Rotarians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Aziz. Thank you for honoring us this afternoon and with your presentation. I assure you, my personal commitment, we will accelerate the donations to the Polio Plus Fund.
Thank you.
On behalf of our district, our Rotarians from 3830, we will do our best
Thank
and
you.
give
And one-
more and generously.
Thank you. Thank you. And just a message to Sid. I want to tell him the grant which was initiated by Rotary Club of Makati for the mental illness. There was a shortage of $9,000 required in that. So our Governor Farhan Issa this morning at 6 o'clock when we were having the cycle race, he wrote a check of $9,000 and handed over to me. So that grant is now going to be submitted on Monday. So thank you very much. And we'll work together. We would love to do more projects with you. And you can also depend on us. We are available to you for all the support. And whenever there is an opportunity, Sid, let's sign a twin club relationship between my host club, which is almost 85 years old, no, 89 years old, and Rotary Club of Makati. Thank you. Thank you. And I have to join. And today was a very busy day for me, but I could not say no to Chacha because the way she took care of me when I was in Manila, I had to do something and we'll do more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That was TRF Trustee Assis Memon. At this point, allow me to introduce someone who was afflicted with polio when he was a 6-month-old infant. Both of his legs were affected. With help and encouragement from his family, and by dint of his personal resolve and determination, he conquered polio. He completed his grade school at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran. He went on to earn a bachelor's degree in architecture from the University of Santo Tomas and has built a happy, healthy family and a thriving career. Let us welcome Jesus Lunel Pascual. Nel, good afternoon and welcome to our town hall.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you first for this opportunity to be able to share my life as a polio survivor. I'd like to thank personally Ellie and the Rotarians who have given me this opportunity. So you gave me quite a hard task. You were asking me to compress 63 years into 10 or 15 minutes. So I'll try to be as brief and try to compress my life in 10, 15 minutes. All right. So I was afflicted with polio at 6 months old. I'm the eldest son of my mom. She was 23 when she gave birth to me. I remember clearly my mom telling me, because I was born very sickly. At before I was stricken with polio, I was already operated on hernia and appendicitis. After that, then I was stricken with polio. I was very sickly. My mom keeps on telling me. She would, when I was stricken with polio, she would only be able to visit me at San Lazaro Hospital from 3 to 4. That was the only time they were allowed to visit polio victims. She keeps on telling me that every time the mothers come and visit their children, they would be crying. Being only to be with the children for an hour or so. My mom basically was the one who attended to me. while my papa was busy at work. I remember a story that uh, I often keep on sharing, because since my mom was taking care of me, I was asked by my teacher, what's the name of your father? So I said, Amado Pascual. His profession, I said, he's a musical director. And your mom? My mom, she's Bienvenida Pascual. And her profession, I said, driver. Why a driver? Because she brought me to school every day. I recall too, when I was in kinder, we didn't have a car then. I would be awake at 4:30 in the morning. She'd dress me up, ride me on the school bus. So by the time I arrived in school at about 7:30, my mom would be there. Then from there, she'd have to carry me up a flight of stairs, 3 floors. That was every day till I reached grade 7. So that's about 8 years of up and down, and I never fell. I recall also too that I was scolded when needed. I was reprimanded. No special. Just because I had the polio thing, I was scolded. No, I was always scolded when needed. And then I recall too one story when when my papa brought me to school. There was a beggar. He was a polio victim, and he said to me, would you like to be like him? Sabi ko, no pa, sabi ko. Then he said, all right, if you don't want to be like him, you have to be able to study, so you will be able to bring yourself to have an occupation. And then there was a time too when I was a kid, I was asked, because we just watched a movie called Aladdin. And so my mom asked me, Mom, Nell, if you had 3 wishes, what would they be? And I said, well, one, I'd like to finish my studies. 2, be able to work. And 3, to have a family. And then my mom was puzzled. She asked, won't you want to walk again? And I said, no. First of all, Mom, you gave me only 3 wishes. So it wasn't a priority. My priority was, because at a very young age, I've learned to live with a disability. I knew I was different. I called my crutches an accessory. It was part of me, because I never experienced being able to walk. My parents were very supportive of my dreams. My first dream was being able to swim. And surprisingly, my mom, who had a very good best friend who was an Olympic swimmer, brought me to YMCA, and I was able to swim in less than, 15 minutes? I was alone on the pool already. All right. And then when I was in college, I thought of being able to drive. So my parents supported me with that. We got a car. Back then, it was so rare to get an automatic car. So after we had the car a bit modified, it's basically a hand-driven apparatus which I designed, and now I've been driving. I was driving since 1976, I think, yes, and I've been driving even up to now. With regards friends, my friends saw me beyond the disability. I guess because I tried to blend in with them. I remember our principal telling me, telling my parents, if I was able, I went serious with my studies, I would have been a very top of the class. But then I said when I was young, people might think I would be a nerd. I didn't want to give that impression that I was a nerd, having a disability and then being so bright. So what I did was I tried to blend in with them. To me, education is an essential part of my being able to overcome the disability. Being able to go through, elementary, high school, and the university, I said I have to make it good. But I wasn't really after being top of the class. I was just average. One more thing that I will not forget is when I had when I was married, had my children. I have 2 kids. Vaccination was a very important part of. I always reminded my wife of vaccine nila because I wouldn't want my children to experience the hardships that I experienced. Um, I recall one story when my mom, when I asked my mom, "Mom, did you pray I be able to walk?" And she said, "No." She accepted the fact that I had polio, but she only prayed that she be able to. She prayed that she asked the Lord to that she be guided. She be guided and bring me up well. And I guess her prayers was answered. And I adopted the same thing. When people ask me, "Did you ever pray that I be able to walk?" Sabi ko, no, it wasn't a priority then. My priority was being able to overcome this. And then the big question came was when I asked myself, why the Lord allowed it? I use the term allowed it. Yes, God must have had a purpose to why He allowed me to have polio. So my question was answered when I was awarded a project which is very close to my heart. This is the project for the elderly, the Haven for the Elderly in Tanay. It serves the abandoned elderly of the Philippines. It was a project which took really a lot of my time, 2 years in fact, for the project to be completed. It's a home wherein the elderly, the abandoned elderly of the Philippines reside. It was like building or serving my fellow handicapped or and my fellow elderly in a project like this. This is the thing, and this is, I think, the purpose was why the Lord allowed this. People ask me too, if what would you think you would have been a better person if I wasn't disabled? And my answer to that is my disability, what I am now, is because of the disability. The disability made me. Whatever I am now is because of the disability. Whatever my accomplishments now are because of the training of my parents and how my friends looked at me. So with this, I wish to end by saying that even this disability, I lift it for God's glory. Whatever accomplishments I've done, this is not for me, but for God's glory. So again, I wish to thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you through this short talk of mine. And I pray that this project of yours be a successful one. I myself would like polio to be eradicated. And again, so thank you. And I hope I didn't eat much of your time. Thank you again.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Nel. Thank you for sharing your story of faith, courage, and determination. We are greatly encouraged. We are truly inspired. We will now watch a brief video clip on the importance of the polio vaccine.
Polio is an incurable disease that can cause permanent paralysis. Thankfully, there's a very effective vaccine known as the oral polio vaccine, which provides lifelong protection from polio. Each drop of the vaccine contains a weakened form of the polio virus. This helps the body to develop immunity so that the child is protected against polio. Just like the wild polio virus, the vaccine virus can be passed from child to child. This helps spread the protection against polio to other children, even those who aren't vaccinated. However, when a large number of children are not vaccinated and immunity levels are very low, the vaccine virus can continue to spread from one unprotected child to another for a long period of time. As the virus continues to find unvaccinated children, it undergoes small genetic changes. On very rare occasions, this can cause the weakened virus to change into a form that can cause paralysis. These rare virus strains are called vaccine-derived polioviruses. They can paralyze people for life and can even spread to cause outbreaks. This is called a circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus. If immunity is high, vaccine-derived polio cannot arise. That's why it's so important to reach every last child with vaccines. If outbreaks do occur, they can be stopped in the same way as wild polio, with vaccination campaigns that protect children against all types of polio. To eradicate polio, we must stop all types of the virus. Let's make sure we vaccinate every child and end all polio for good.
The key to the eradication of polio worldwide has been massive immunization. A model of mass immunization was developed and crafted in the Philippines. This came after the historic launching of the first 3H grant from the Rotary Foundation in the Makati Rotary grounds in September 1979. Today, we are joined by a senior Rotary leader who was the prime mover of the National Immunization Day concept in the Philippines that became the model for massive immunization worldwide. Let's welcome our past district governor from the Rotary Club of Makati West, Governor Oscar Oski de Venecia. Good afternoon, Governor Oski.
Good afternoon, my fellow Rotarians and friends. After the successful immunization on a 5-year period as a pilot country, we proved to the world that polio can be eradicated. Therefore, the UN launched the expanded program on immunization and invited Rotary to become a partner together with WHO, UNICEF, CDC, and participating governments. Other organizations such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation would later join to make the API a shining example for private-public partnership in the fight against diseases in the late 20th century and the 21st century. Also, in 1986, RI created the National Polio Immunization Committee in the Philippines. It was headed by then past District Governor John Tambunting, together with past District Governor Maraning Ilano. Both laid the foundations of Polio Plus in the Philippines through fundraising information campaign nationwide. In 1988, Rotary worldwide raised $247 million for Polio Plus, more than double the fundraising goal of $120 million. The World Health Assembly passed a resolution to eradicate polio, setting up the launch of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. At that time, more than 125 countries were polio endemic. In 1992, in preparation for the National Immunization Day, and to ensure the successful implementation of the polio eradication strategy, the Department of Health, as the lead agency, organized 3 working committees. One is the Logistic Committee, one is the Social Mobilization Committee, and the third is the Information, Education, and Communications Committee. I was happy that Rotary was asked to chair the IEC. That's why I was able to work closely with DOH, the donors, Rotary districts, and clubs to meet the NID needs. The OH assigned this committee to me. In 1993, the Philippines initiated its first National Immunization Day. That was the start of the many more years that the National Polio Plus Committee traveled nationwide to oversee the immunization coverage by health workers, Rotarians, and volunteers. At that time, the Secretary of Health was Johnny Flavier. He was a good marketing man. And during the immunization days, he borrowed the plane of San Miguel Corporation, and me, together with Secretary Romualdez of UNICEF, were able to go to the regions to encourage them, to make them feel that the national headquarters was encouraging them. Philippine Rotary assisted the Department of Health and the major AAI partners to support the operations and social mobilization activities, as well as the transportation, staffing, refrigeration, supplies for health workers, surveillance, and spreading the word through radio, posters, and public announcement to be sure parents are aware of the campaign and the benefits of immunization, and to help health workers get children vaccinated during the NID. Our teams were able to penetrate risky areas and get the support and cooperation of communist and Muslim insurgents after we persuaded them of the urgent need for their children to be vaccinated. The government and rebels agreed on ceasefire for the children during NID. The Filipino fight against polio ended successfully in 1996 when no polio cases were recorded. However, no single country can be certified polio-free. It has to be a whole WHO region that is certified as polio-free. After all the countries sustain one, at least 3 years of zero confirmed cases due to indigenous wild polio. Excellent laboratory-based surveillance. Demonstrative capacity to direct, report, and respond imported cases of poliomyelitis and assurance of safe containment of polio viruses laboratories. And so finally, on October 29, 2000, after the prescribed 3-year period of non-occurrence, the Western Pacific region was finally certified polio-free by the World Health Organization. Western Pacific region during a conference in Kyoto, Japan. Past Rotary International President Matt Capras, Marianing Ilano, and myself attended the historic event. Fellow Rotarians, it is unfortunate and we are saddened that after 19 years since the Western Pacific region was certified polio-free, polio in our midst again. Our September 1 this year, the Department of Health came out with announcement that there is another outbreak of 8 cases of vaccine-derived polio virus in Mindanao and Metro Manila. That is why in the Philippines, Rotary renewed its vigilance and collaborated with the Department of Health and other partner organizations. This was sealed with the signing of a memorandum of agreement last September 20, 2019 with DOH led by Secretary Francisco Duque and the district governors of the 10 Philippine districts. The Department of Health and Rotary are determined to make sure that no child shall be missed during this sambayanang patak kontra sa polio or the door-to-door vaccination. Yes, a few months ago, on November 25, mass immunization was improved in Metro Manila and in Mindanao. Now that 99% of the world's population lives in regions certified polio-free, the goal of eradicating polio is closer than ever. But as long as polio exists anywhere, it's a threat to children everywhere. Continued vigilance is needed to protect the gains and ensure that polio does not return. Immunization and surveillance activities must continue to rapidly detect a potential reintroduction of emergence of virus. Soon, Rotary hopes to achieve the eradication of the second human disease to be removed from the face of the earth and fulfill its dream of a polio-free world for our children. It would be Rotary's invaluable gift to mankind. So my fellow Rotarians, in closing, please make sure that the awareness campaign to tell people that Rotary is heavily involved in this immunization and that the fundraising activities must continue. Thank you.
Govsani, you're on mute.
Thank you, Governor Oscar, for enabling us to learn and understand how Philippine Rotary modeled and implemented a highly successful national polio immunization program. Please be assured that we will do everything possible to carry on your legacy, especially in terms of sustaining high awareness on the need for polio eradication. We will now get an update on continuing polio immunization efforts from a senior official of our Department of Health. Aside from being a doctor of medicine, our resource person also holds an MBA in health degree from the Ateneo Graduate School of Business. She is concurrently the National Immunization Program Manager and Division Chief of the Children's Health Development Division of the Department of Health. Let's welcome Dr. Maria Wilda Silva. Good afternoon, Dr. Silva.
Good afternoon, Sec, and good afternoon to everyone. Special greetings goes to Governor Marisa Camacho. Good afternoon po.
Dr. Silva, we understand that there are two types of anti-polio vaccines, oral polio vaccine or OPV, and inactivated polio vaccine or IPV. Please tell us more about this and tell us too why the DOH is using OPV or the oral polio vaccine.
Okay, there are two preparations of polio vaccines as mentioned, and both of this we use in the routine immunization program of the Department of Health. Let me start with the oral polio vaccine. This type of vaccine, we call this live attenuated vaccine. It is live, but it is attenuated, meaning it is weakened. Therefore, when you give it to a child, it cannot cause the disease, but rather it can help boost, or it will allow the body of the child to manufacture or to mount protection by means of generating antibodies against polio. Now, another preparation is in the inactivated polio vaccine. By the word inactivated, this vaccine preparation uses killed vaccines or killed virus. So when you give it to a child, then the child is also protected against polio. But although we use this both in the routine immunization program of the Department of Health, the oral polio vaccine has its advantage. Why is it more advantageous? Because in your presentation a while ago, in the video clip a while ago, you mentioned that when you use the oral polio vaccine, you also give indirect immunization to other members of the community. How so? Because when you give the vaccine orally, of course, it will stay in your gut for several hours and then you pass it out. When you pass it out, it's the same form of weakened vaccine virus. So if unfortunately a child will get this from another child, then indirectly the next child is vaccinated. If I can share my slide so that we can have a visual of what happens. Okay, it is like this. When one child is vaccinated with oral polio vaccine, then there is a normal period of shedding, or the child sheds the virus, the live vaccine virus. If hand hygiene is not practiced and the child plays with a playmate, then probably the shedded virus can come in contact with the toys that they used to play with, and then if the second child gets that, and accidentally ingest that weakened virus, then the virus will go inside the gut and then it will have time to replicate. And then the cycle continues, because if the third child or the second child plays with the third child and the third child plays with the fourth child, so that is how the virus, the vaccine virus, is spread. Now, the $1,000,000 question, Sec, is, will the second child or child number 2 develop the paralysis? The answer is no, because what he got from the vaccinated child is still that weakened form of a virus. So by getting a weakened form of a virus, we call this indirect vaccination. So the second question again is, will child number 3 gets the paralysis, or child number 4, or child number 5? Probably not. But if this goes on and on, then the virus, the vaccine virus that is weakened, will have a chance to mutate and then can cause paralysis if this virus will regain its virulence. Now, we do not see that when we use the inactivated polio vaccine.
That was really informative, Dr. Silva. The Philippines was declared polio-free in the year 2000, but last year in September, the DOH declared a polio outbreak. Please tell us more about this.
Yes, we have been certified together with other countries in the Western Pacific region as polio-free. But then the basis of the certification is based on is on the wild type polio. Now, our outbreak now, we declared the outbreak because we first saw a child with paralysis. And then when we tested the sample from this child, it turned out to be a vaccine-derived poliovirus. So that was what I was talking about a while ago. Even though this is a vaccine-derived poliovirus, when it has regained its virulence, the paralysis is no different from wild poliovirus. So the basis for the declaration of the outbreak in the Philippines now, actually last year we declared the outbreak, and until now we haven't controlled the outbreak, is because of the vaccine-derived poliovirus.
Dr. Silva, we've learned that some children infected with the poliovirus are asymptomatic. Please help us understand this better.
Oh, for that I will share another slide. This are the polio dolls. I call this the polio dolls. You can see here that as of September 24, there are 17 cases. By polio cases, what we mean here is all of these children have paralysis. But if you look at the lower portion of the slide, these are the close contacts of the cases above. But when we examined samples from these children, they are also shedding vaccine-derived poliovirus, and yet they do not develop symptoms. Because, polio, the poliovirus, in 72% of cases, even if you have the poliovirus in you, 72%, 72% will not develop any signs and symptoms at all. Only in 24%, if you have the poliovirus, then you have mild signs and symptoms like non-specific viral infection, fever, body malaise, but you do not develop the paralysis and you get well. In 4% of cases, children will develop meningitis. We call it aseptic meningitis because the polio virus can also go up and cause infection in the brain. So we call this aseptic meningitis. It is only in less than 1% of cases that we see paralysis. So this is what we are trying to do in the Department of Health, looking for acute flaccid paralysis, children with acute flaccid paralysis or exhibiting symptoms of sudden weakness of the lower extremities, so that we will be guided whether this is polio or not. Because, as I have mentioned, in less than 1%, children will develop paralysis. So one child will paralysis belongs to just a small percent of the entire universe of polio infection. So even just one child, the department has to declare an outbreak, because we know for a fact that for every one paralysis case or polio case, there will be around 100 to 200 polio infection. And that is a huge number if we will not stop the transmission.
Why should we be concerned, even if there are only 2 countries in the world left with the polio virus?
Oh, because we are living in a seamless world now where travel is very easy. It's very easy now to go from this part of the world to other parts of the world. And as I have mentioned, polio is a disease of humans, and they go where humans go. So you will never know. You might be carrying this poliovirus and go to a community where the population protection against polio is not very high. And with that, you might infect those children with the with no immunity at all, or no adequate protection against polio. So even if we were declared wild polio virus free, if we do not up the population immunity against polio, there is a possibility that we can still get the wild polio virus.
Please tell us more about the DOH immunization program and how we as Rotarians can participate in your program.
Oh, we have the routine immunization, not just for polio, but other vaccine preventable diseases like measles, mumps, German measles, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, and even hepatitis B infection. Now, for polio immunization, Rotary has been our biggest ally in the last Sabayang Patak contra polio, and it was very successful in all of the regions in Mindanao and in NCR. We are not yet done in controlling the outbreak, which we declared September last year, 2019. In 2020, we also did an outbreak response immunization because we saw a case in Region 3 and also another case in Region 4A. So we did as well Sabayang Patak contra polio in these two regions, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we didn't reach our target of 95%. But we had support from everyone, and I would like to thank Rotary because of your big support to the Department of Health. Aside from outbreak response immunization, we will also be embarking in another supplemental immunization activity, this time not just for polio, but also against measles and German measles. And we will do that starting Monday, October 26, 2019. So we are protecting. We want to protect our children from measles, rubella, and also very important against polio. And of course, routine immunization program is a basic health service that has to continue even this time of COVID-19 pandemic. And because we are challenged because of this COVID-19 pandemic, let me take this opportunity to call for support in behalf of the Department of Health. I know Rotary has been helping us a lot, but we need more support from Rotary. In 2021, we will be transitioning from using 3 doses of oral polio and 1 dose of IPV to 2 dose IPV, and resources, funding for this transitioning is not cheap. So we are also calling support from Rotary, not just for our logistics, but what the challenge now is, bringing these vaccines from the national cold store here in NCR to the different parts of the Philippines where vaccination is happening, like in the provinces, in the cities, and in the municipalities. We are challenged in our distribution as well. And finally, we need to spread the word. We need not to forget polio. We ought to remember the devastating effect of this crippling disease. We need to remind everyone that in 2000, we have eliminated polio, and yet it's coming back. So everyone has to remember what polio is. And we need everyone to be our, mouthpiece in bringing and providing the correct information, the timely information, so that everyone will be informed what this disease is, and more importantly, that this disease can be prevented through vaccination. And we need Rotary for that.
Thank you, Dr. Silva, for making time to help us know and understand better the importance of immunization. We look forward to being able to continue working and supporting the DOH in promoting its immunization and other related public health programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too.
I think all of us are now getting more and more enthused about participating in the End Polio Now campaign. To tell us more about what we as Rotarians and what our Rotary clubs can do, let's welcome the co-chair of our District Polio Committee from the Rotary Club of Makati East, past President Oscar Cari de Venecia Jr.
Thank you, Bob Sunny, for the time to talk today. Good afternoon, District Governor Chacha Camacho, TRF Trustee Aziz Mimon, PRID Painga Chanova, PRID Gilier Tumangan, other distinguished officers, guests, fellow Rotarians, protocols observed. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for allowing me this time to talk to you. I am here to share with you our district's End Polio Now campaign for this Rotary year. But before I begin, please allow me to share with you a brief history as to why the End Polio Now campaign is very special to our hearts, to our country, and especially to our district. As in the recently concluded World Polio Summit, several distinguished Rotarians have shared, namely RIP and Jennifer Jones, PRI VP Mike McGovern, PRID Robert Hall, have said that the End Polio Now campaign is a legacy of the Philippines to the world and to Rotary. Why is this? As you will see, the first dose of the oral polio vaccine was administered by then Rotary International President James Bomar to a Filipino child in Makati City. Specifically, it was in Guadalupe Vieja on September 29, 1979. This is where Rotary planted the seeds of hope for the total eradication of polio from the face of the earth. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is our homegrown project. This is ours. Atin to. It is very special to us because it is particularly in our district that this was initiated. This is our first global project, a project that is still ongoing up to today and very close to completion. You will see in this slide representatives from Rotary International and the government of the Philippines signing the agreement that starts Rotary International's first polio project. The 1979 agreement between Rotary International and the Philippine Ministry of Health for a joint multi-year effort to immunize children against polio. You will notice very familiar faces in the picture posted in this slide. And there are a lot of many notable Rotarians from our district that have been stalwarts, pillars in the End Polio Now campaign. If I am allowed to mention a few of them. There is, of course, the late past Rotary International President Matt Caparas. We have our very own PRID Paingit Chanova, past District Governor Junta Bunting, past District Governor Ruben Henson, and of course, past District Governor Osti de Venecia, and many others that I may have failed to mention here, and apologies if I did. But so many notables from our very own district have been stalwarts, pillars, pioneers in the End Polio Now campaign of Rotary International. Now that 99% of the world's population lives in regions certified polio-free, the goal of eradication is closer than ever. But as long as polio exists anywhere, it is a threat to children everywhere. For this Rotary year, our dear Perfect Vision District Governor Chacha Camacho is asking for your support to rally our Rotarians in the district to achieve her goal for the End Polio Now campaign. If I may, just breeze through the awareness portion of this. We are asking that each club dedicate at least one regular meeting in this Rotary year to the End Polio Now education. Not only for our Rotary clubs, let's get our RCCs, our Rotaracts and Interact clubs to have one of their meetings or educate them on the End Polio Now campaign. And we ask you to create promotional materials regarding End Polio Now and place these at your chosen communities. But we also ask that we open our hearts, we open our wallets, we open our generosity by giving towards our district goals. For small clubs to give at least a minimum of US dollars 100, medium clubs to give US dollars 200, and large clubs to give US dollars 400. This is not too much of an ask of you. We know we can do it. We know we can share. And we know that you are willing to help not only our district, not only the Philippines, but Rotary International eradicate polio from the face of the earth. But of course, this is just a minimum. We ask you to be kinder, more generous. And we ask that certain clubs or several clubs, to at least 5 of our clubs in our district, to at least give a total of 1,500 US dollars to the End Polio Now campaign. And to further help in this fundraising activities that our district is doing, one of our clubs, the Rotary Club of Makati East, has created a fundraising drive by selling a collectible timepiece. This is a Seiko watch to commemorate the End Polio Now campaign. This is for our district. This is for our fundraising. If you are interested, there's a limited amount of watches available, so please contact your classmate, PVP Glenn. The number is stated here, and we can share this information with you if need be. The watches are going pretty quickly, so please make your reservations right now. Please allow me a special thank you that we want to share with certain members of our district right now, our special guests for today. In recognition and appreciation of the roles they have played in developing, nurturing, and leading the End Polio Now campaign, District Governor Chacha Camacho and the District 3830 would like to give past Rotary International Director Rafael Echonova and past District Governor Oscar De Venecia with the commemorative End Polio Now watch, so that we may always know that it is in part because of them that it is now the time to end polio now from the face of the earth. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all you have done for the End Polio Now campaign and for our district. In closing, I want to share with you that did you know polio could be the second human disease to ever be eradicated? The second human disease to ever be eradicated. This would be a fantastic accomplishment. And think about it. This started in our own backyard. This is our homegrown project. This is not only the Philippines' homegrown project, but our district homegrown project. Our distinguished Rotarians started this. They developed it, they nurtured it, and they brought it to where it is right now. 99% of the world has polio eradication. So now we would like to ask that you open your hearts. Let's be generous. Let's do our part to helping eradicate polio as the second human disease to ever be eradicated. You know, children, whether they be Filipinos or from other nationalities, they deserve our help. They do not deserve to have this disease afflict them. So let's be kind, let's be generous, and let's do our part in helping eradicate polio. Today is World Polio Day, and we are joining every other Rotarian in this planet in celebrating this project that we started here in our country. We are this close. And as RIPN Jennifer Jones had said, we are this close, and now we are this close. Imagine if we can close that gap, what would we have? So please, ladies and gentlemen, let us do our part in ending polio now. With your continued support, we will prevail. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all.
Thank you, Past President and District Polio Committee Chair, Kari. We applaud you and your co-chair, Past President Quito Lagdameo. Indeed, your hard work and focused programs are now bearing fruits. I've just been prompted by our Rotary Academy Executive Director, Charlotte Cruz, that we have breaking news. Teacher Charlie, please show us the news that we are sharing with our Rotary friends. 96 out of 109 clubs in District 3830 pledged and committed to contribute to Polio Plus. As of 22 October 2020, a total of 4,026 US dollars have been paid. This is nearly 30% of the total pledge, which is around $12,000. We are certainly on track, well on our way to meet this target. And here's one more. Former Rotary scholars and members of the TF Alumni Association have pledged to donate $100 each. And now for the proverbial icing on the cake, our esteemed members of the District 3830 Council of Governors have pledged to give at least $100 each, or a total of around 3,000 US dollars. A big round of applause for our new Polio Plus donors. Governor Chacha is waiting for other Perfect Vision presidents and their clubs to contribute to our fund campaign. We have come to the high point of today's town hall, the call to action from our leader, Perfect Vision Governor Chacha Camacho.
Thank you, Gov. Thank you. The donations are coming in. Hindi pa updated yung breaking news natin. Marami pang dumadating.
Rotary's fight against polio is one of history's most inspirational movements, where humanity banded together towards a common cause. The eradication of polio is one of Rotary's longest standing and most significant efforts. In 1985, we launched Polio Plus, the first and largest internationally coordinated private sector support of a public health initiative, with an initial fundraising target of $120 million. In 1988, together with the World Health Organization, Rotary International launched the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. In 1994, a banner year in our fight against polio, the International Commission for the Certification of Poliomyelitis Eradication announced that polio had been eliminated from the Americas. Inspired by our success in the Americas, health workers and volunteers immunized 165 million children in China and India in 1 week in 1995. Rotary launches the Polio Plus Partners Program, enabling Rotary members in polio-free countries to provide support to fellow Rotarians in polio-affected countries for polio eradication activities. At the turn of the century, a record 550 million children, almost 10% of the world's population, received the oral polio vaccine. The Western Pacific region, spanning from Australia to China, is declared polio-free. In 2011, Rotary's funding for polio eradication exceeded $1 billion. Along with our partners and the many Rotarians across the globe, Rotary has helped immunize more than 2.5 billion children against polio in 122 countries. And all of this began when Rotary launched its fight against polio in our country, in our District 3830, 41 years ago. My friends, we are now in the home stretch. We are down to the final 0.1%. We ask all of you to commit to our fight against polio by donating and donating generously. Your generous donation will be matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, doubling the impact of your gift. Join us in this fight. Join us in securing Rotary's legacy of eradicating polio. Join us in making history by making polio history. And once we have rid the world of polio, we can focus our efforts on all the other pressing diseases we have at hand. My friends, I am confident that we will be able to end polio in our lifetime. Because when we lead with our Rotarian hearts, a single drop can create ripples of change across the world.
So with that, I would like to thank all of you, my fellow Rotarians, our guests. So I want just to repeat what PP Kari said. If each one of us would give our share, then put together our small contributions will create ripples of change. Today, I ask you to contribute what you can, starting with the following. All small clubs, at least $100 from all your members. So if there are 25 of you, this translates only to $4 each or 200 pesos. If you belong to a medium-sized club, may I request for a total of $200? And for large clubs, I'm certain that the minimum amount contribution of $400 from all the members is well within your means. I am also very certain that there will be at least 10 clubs from our 109 clubs in the district that can contribute at least $2,000 each. To put this goal in a nice round figure, 10, 2020. It's October 2020. So I hope you will not disappoint me. We just forged also an agreement, a partnership with Globe Telecom. Starting November, you may now use your Globe Rewards points to support this advocacy, and this will be credited to your club. So just as you demonstrated last month in a Rotary Foundation Discovery session when all the clubs committed to support our Every Rotarian Every Year campaign, I trust that you will not disappoint me this time. But truth to tell, we should not disappoint the children, as it is for them that we are doing these things. We are rededicating our efforts to finally eradicate polio. We had all these inspiring messages. I salute you, Prid Paeng and Oscar de Venecia. Your memory is so sharp. It was really fantastic and wonderful to hear the story from you. And it really rekindled that pride in this project as Rotarians of District 3830. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story. And to echo the appeal of our RI President Holger, please let us fulfill our promise to the children of the world. And today, let us start doing small things with great love from our Rotarian hearts. And maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, my dear presidents. I can see that you're there posting your donations already and deposit slips. Thank you very much. And my gratitude to our TRF trustee Assis for finding time. I know he's very busy, he's in demand, especially today because of the World Polio Day celebration all over the world. And thank you, Nell, also. That was very inspiring. You brought tears to my eyes this afternoon. And Dr. Silva, you were able to explain to us in layman's language what this OPV and the polio virus is. So thank you very much po. And I cannot end this session without thanking the people responsible for putting this together. Our DRFC Polio Plus Subcommittee Chair, Carrie de Venecia, and his co-chair, Quito Lagdameo. Of course, guided by our chairman of the DRFC, Gobsid Garcia, and Debs Mabel Esteban. Thank you very much for putting this together. Of course, with much help from our DCC for Service, Community Service, Raisa Echanova Posadas, and DCC Rick Nimo. And for the technical side and all others, our training team, headed by our district trainer, PDG Sani Coloma, his deputy, Marisa Camacho. You were just promoted by Dr. Silva to be the governor of our district. AG mentor Johnny C. for all the technical help. And of course, our teacher Charlie, our Rotary Academy Executive Director, will be very, very helpful and good-looking deputies, Darwin David and Benjo Bernabe. Maraming salamat sa inyo. I hope you enjoyed, you learned something, and most importantly, you were inspired to give more and to give generously. Maraming salamat, my fellow Rotarians. Good evening. We're all going to Pomwa. Of the globe with our urgent message to end polio now. Let's do it. Let's end polio now. Again, good evening and thank you very much for your time. And so, with that, let me adjourn this town hall meeting. Thank you for your donations. Thank you to RC Makati and RC Makati West. It's a tie between them. Gob Oski, paano ba yan? Gob Tony, I can see you there. It's close. Ang donation sa Polio Plus. It's almost a tie.
Parang Lasal Ateneo yan ah.
2000.
Congratulations, Gov.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gov-san.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gov.
Congrats, Gov.
Congratulations, Gov.
Congrats.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Gov.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.